and welcome to Tbcnews. Our top stories. Tanzania and Uganda signed natural gas pipeline deal.
To work tirelessly to get the procurement entity.
Parliament endorses Kia management to TAA. Good evening, I am Faida Ngaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also get all the latest news via Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. The Tanzanian and Ugandan government have signed an agreement to signify the start of the feasibility study of the Tanzania-Uganda natural gas pipeline construction project. The agreement was signed in Dodoma by the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Energy, Dr. Doto Biteko, and Minister for Energy and Mineral Development of Uganda, Ruth Nankabirwa. Here are more details.
The Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy, Dr. Doto Biteko, says the signing of the agreement is based on the preliminary agreement as part of the Memorandum of Understanding between the two countries signed in August 2018 for the construction of a natural gas pipeline from Tanzania to Uganda, following Tanzania discovering a large deposit of gas in deep sea and land. Dr. Biteko insists energy is key for development of any country and calls the two countries to capitalize on the opportunity to ensure the project comes into force to boost economy and social sphere of both countries.
In order to realize this project on time, I argue the joint committee, as it has been put up clearly by the Permanent Secretary from Uganda, to work tirelessly, make the talk be practical. We want you to work tirelessly to get the procurement entity, the consultant, get them in time so that we can conduct the feasibility study on time.
Dr. Biteko adds that Tanzania continues to receive requests for gas from neighboring countries, but currently the challenge remains to be means of transport to deliver the gas, while Dr. Ruth says the signing of the agreement will signify East African countries' potentials in the use of energy.
Apart from this internal demand, our neighboring countries, including Uganda, Honorable Minister, Kenya, Zambia, Malawi, Rwanda, Burundi, and Botswana, has shown interest to import our natural gas to their respective countries. Our main challenge now remains the infrastructure development from the upstream, midstream, and downstream side.
Initiating the feasibility study, and this is going to be a very loud statement to the world that East Africa is serious on her agenda to energy transition.
The feasibility study for the Tanzania-Uganda natural pipeline construction project will take place within a period of 1 year, with both countries mutually contributing for the success of the study.
Now, from the energy sector, let's head over to the transport sector, whereby Minister for Transport, Professor Makame Mbarawa, says the government has reinstated the management of the Kilimanjaro International Airport Kia to the Tanzania Airport Authority, TAA, after ending its contract with the private company, CADCO. Professor Mbarawa was delivering government report on the airport operations in Dodoma. Here's a report by Malika Andrew, read to you by Kanki Mwagumole.
On November the 4th this year, there was a debate in the Parliament on Kilimanjaro International Airport operations, which was under the private company, CADCO. The Speaker of Parliament, Tulia Ackson, urged the government to inspect the contract limitation. And today, the Minister of Transport, Professor Makame Mbarawa, explains the steps taken by the government regarding the contract.
Kwa kuwa kiwanja cha Kia kinamilikiwa na serikali kupitia TAA.
Because the Kilimanjaro International Airport is owned by the government through Tanzania Airports Authority, of which the connection agreement, together with the lease agreement, expires today on 9th November 2023. The government, through the Ministry of Transport, will officially hand over the Kilimanjaro International Airport to Tanzania Airports Authority from November 10th, 2023. After this handover, the government will continue to coordinate and manage all the steps for the interest of the nation.
And thereafter, the Speaker of Parliament, Dr. Tulia Ackson, says the Parliament has finalized its work. What remains is for the government to hand over the airport to Tanzania Airport Authority.
If there are other things that need to be done during this handover, then after listening to the report of the committee in February, it will be great to hear that Kilimanjaro International Airport is under the Tanzania Airports Authority.
The Executive Director of CEO Roundtable of Tanzania, Santina Benson, says her organization and the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, IUCN, have signed a 2-year agreement to enable small-scale farmers in the country to engage successfully in sustainable agribusiness. She says the agreement will not only benefit the farmers, but also industrial producers in the country, insisting the agreement will stimulate sustainable development.
What we've seen is that there are 3 key areas that we've found that are critical to driving the sustainability agenda from a business perspective. We've identified access to finance. How do we gain the right type of finance to really drive these sustainability initiatives? And these can be in any sector.
One of the major milestones was the development of the sustainability financial principles a few years ago. But we are at the point today where we want to move to the next level. And the next level is really, the first one is how do we catalyze investments that are nature positive.
The 2 institutions will capitalize on the signed agreement to nurture business leaders and help stakeholders understand various ways of conducting sustainable business activities through special trainings and workshops. In other news, Tanzanian youth and women have been urged to be vigilant in seeking opportunities that will empower them economically and eventually catalyze national development. Speaking at the Gender Festival organized by the Tanzania Gender Networking Program, TGNP, and funded by the Netherlands Embassy in Tanzania, one of the beneficiaries of empowerment programs run by the Netherlands Embassy, Mwanaisha Mdeme, says capacity building training she has received throughout her political career has endowed her with confidence and leadership skills. She urges other youth and women to take an active role in such events which enable diverse stakeholders to exchange knowledge and skills.
Here we are just attending on celebration of 15th festival and 30 years of TGNP, whereby all women from different parts of the country are just gathering, and we get the chance to discuss on the challenges, success, on the movement of building the voices of women in the Africa, Tanzania, and world in general.
Furthermore, Shamimu Mwasinyange, a social scientist and a climate change activist who is also a beneficiary of the empowerment programs run by the Netherlands Embassy, says youth and women have a huge role to play in combating the effects of climate change, among other contemporary issues, while Mariam Mentanga, a project coordinator from Tanzania, cemented on the aforementioned idea and further elaborated how TGNP, in collaboration with the Netherlands Embassy, have had an impact on her organization.
When you're talking about youth empowerment and women engagement in different sectors, talking about agriculture, talking about climate change, talking about energy, renewable energy, and all those kind of sectors. And as an individual, the Dutch embassy has been the torch for me, has been the guideline for me to be able to be into this space, to step out both nationally and internationally in the context that right now I am working with the Dutch Minister of Foreign Affairs on the Dutch Youth Advisory Committee, or we call it the International Youth Advisory Committee, which is made of 10 young people from Africa and the MENA region.
Tanzania have been lucky enough to work with Netherlands Embassy last year, and we have been able to produce the animation about climate change. Through this animation, we've been able to disseminate it to 10 different schools in Dar es Salaam, and we've been able to reach more than 3,000 students
Dar es Salaam. So we are looking forward to engage and collaborate more with the embassies so that this animation can go further in different regions in Tanzania.
Tanzania Mortgage Refinance Company, TMRC, in collaboration with the civil organization Habitat for Humanity International, have come up with small mortgage loan plan to ensure better housing for every Tanzanian. Speaking to journalists in Dar es Salaam during the launch of Research on Housing Microfinance in Tanzania report, the executive director of TMRC, Oscar Mgaya, says statistics show that people with low income are able to live in decent houses because of the high cost of housing loans, insisting the provision of small loans will change the tendency.
With the support and partnership of Habitat, we decided to first approach the market by doing a study of the market that will provide us with the necessary information so that whatever intervention we'll come up with will be in line with what is actually needed in the market.
Our focus is on housing, ensuring that people have this place to call a home. People are living in decent housing. And as we know, the population is ever growing, but services pertaining to housing are not growing at a similar pace.
The report covered 377 respondents, 2/3 of whom were male, and in terms of age, the largest respondent group, 41%, was in their 30s, covering the regions of Dar es Salaam, Dodoma, Mbeya, Arusha, and Mwanza. Let's have a look at other stories now. More than 700,000 trees have been planted in the Mwanza region since March this year, which is part of the implementation of the government's directive that requires every council in the country to plant 1.5 million trees by June next year. Speaking during the planting exercise, the Nyamagana District Commissioner, Amina Makilagi, urged the community in the district to maximize on the current rains to plant trees in order to protect the environment and deal with the effects of climate change. It's a report by Moses Matthew, read to you by Teddy Mparanyanga.
The tree planting exercise of various types is going on in the New Bujingwa primary and secondary schools located in Kishiru, Nyamagana District, Mwanza region.
Tanzania Forest Services Agency, in collaboration with the district of Mwanza, we expected to plant more than 6,000 samplings in its soil for today. Of the 1,000 samplings, 500 are shed seedlings, 370 seedlings are fluid seedlings, and 130 seedlings are threadings of beauty.
The exercise is being carried out by the Tanzania Forest Service Agency, TFS, in Nyamagana District, and aims at strengthening environmental protection as well as dealing with the effects of climate change. Let's not stop at planting trees, but also conserving them. Make sure that everyone should have their own seedling to be able to take good care of it, so that at the end of the day, when it grows, you have found a good environment that will help in the future of coal business. The District Commissioner, Amina Makilagi, urges the exercise to be continuous. All leaders and representatives from the local level to the district level have started planting trees using the ongoing raise in our areas to plant trees, and in this phase, I have set a target for each ward and each street. Our goal is to be able to reach the 50% that remains when we complete this financial commitment. The top leadership of Bujingwa Primary School promises to take care of the trees planted to deliver the intended results.
We want these trees to grow. No a single tree should die, so as to support the effort of our government in fighting against climate change, which has been a global problem. Every student will get a plant he or she will be taking care of every day. Will produce it with fertilizer.
Key development stakeholders say it's crucial for the public and private sectors in the country to work together to enable the public-private partnership venture projects to be catalysts in economic transformation in the country. This was part of the discussion of the 27th RIPOA annual research workshop in Dar es Salaam, which aims at galvanizing sustainable and inclusive growth through structural transformation. Participating in the workshop, the former Chief Secretary, Ambassador Ombeni Sefue, says there is a need for coordinated cooperation between the public and private sectors to foster economic growth.
Things that the private sector can do, I don't think the government needs to do them because the government can devote their resources to other things that the private sector is not interested in. But for that to happen, we need to build greater trust between the private and the public sector. We need to have forums where we talk with each other, not talk at each other, so that we can hear the views and the opinions of each side. We can have some kind of empathy between the government and the private sector.
We need to restructure the private sector as it is today so that it can partner in the proper segments I've just mentioned, central and local government, and there we can see results. And through that, we can bring about the inclusivity of everybody.
On the other hand, the World Bank Africa Region Chief Economist Andrew Debelan says Tanzania has made significant progress in changing the economic structure and urging for more systematic methods to accelerate inclusive economic growth.
In order to be able to build factories, in order to be able to start offices, in order to start big farms or something like that, they need capital and investment.
But also the government needs a strong view of what it wants to achieve from these PPP arrangements. So if the government is clear, this is our strategy, this is what we want to deliver through PPP, and this is how we want them to work to benefit our people, then it makes the whole process a lot easier.
Director General of the Information and Communication Technologies Commission, Dr. Nkundre Mwasaga, says the Commission will continue to collaborate with technology companies to strengthen internet security skills and innovation to boost digital economy. He was attending Huawei Eco Connect Tanzania conference, which involves technology stakeholders in the country.
The technology I've seen here are technologies that they can support that journey that we are looking at it. We have seen that most of the telecommunication companies that are in Tanzania are supported by Huawei. Huawei has special programs that they want to work with us to ensure that they empower modern technology to our youth, to students, to government workers, especially in the area of artificial intelligence.
On the other hand, some technology stakeholders say through the 5.5G and Wi-Fi 7 technology that is expected to be launched by the Huawei company in the country will revolutionize the development acceleration through the digital economy.
G means more speed, more coverage. So we'll have the coverage of network or internet in the rural areas where I think it's a challenge. And also when it comes to Wi-Fi 6, also you're talking about speed, Wi-Fi speed.
Even at bus stand, at railway station, wherever you go, you will have internet. That will transform, the way of thinking and the fast mobilization of information. When information moves fast, things move fast. Then GDP also grow directly. It's directly proportional to it.
From technology, let's head over to the education sector. Rabbi Chancellor of the Russian Embassy, Alexei Bondarak, says his embassy plans to increase the number of scholarships to Tanzanian scholars. He made the remark in Dar es Salaam while opening the Russian Education Exhibition for Russian universities, insisting his country is committed to increase the number of Tanzanian professionals to boost economic growth.
We use any chance to invite Tanzanian students to think about possibility to start or to continue their education in Russian Federation, especially on the basis of Russian government scholarships. It's a very good chance for Tanzanian citizens to bring some experience and bring some knowledge to the national economy of Tanzania. And here we are working in combination and in a very close connection and assistance with official Tanzanian governmental institutions like Tanzania Ministry of Education and all our friends here in Tanzania.
On the other hand, the deputy head of Federal Agency for the Commonwealth of Independent States Affairs, Compatriots Living Abroad, and International Humanitarian Cooperation, who is from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, elaborates the objective of the exhibition, while Vladimir Neshev, lecturer at Sevastopol State University, elaborates on the quality of the Russian education.
Russia and Africa. Russian universities are actually the cheerleaders in making these projects implementation and successful. Currently, there are no students from Tanzania, but there are 29 students from Africa.
More than 200 Tanzanian students have participated in this first exhibition in the country that brings together more than 15 Russian universities. Now, before we wind up our local news, let's take a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Do not miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest exchange rates. Stay tuned for all the latest in international news. Now let's dive into the international news as compiled by Ghania Jumbe and brought to you by Bakari Nsuya.
The International Criminal Court prosecutor Karim Khan has informed the United Nations Security Council about the progress in the investigation of human trafficking. The statement came 18 months after the implementation of the new strategic plan for the work of the ICC in Libya. Khan says his office has conducted more than 15 investigations and collected more than 4,000 pieces of evidence in the past 6 months. The ICC investigation opened in March 2011 focuses on allegations of crimes against humanity and war crimes committed in Libya since February 15, 2011. The United Nations has named the Central Mediterranean migrant route that runs through Libya at the worst in the world. Peace activists traveling around the world on a cruise ship named the Peace Boat have docked at Port Said in Egypt to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. The ship known as Pacific World is 77,000-ton passenger ship owned by Japan luxury cruise operators and the non-government organization Peace Boat. In their message, the activists say that what is happening right now in Gaza is against international law, so they are sending a message that they stand with the affected people, especially children. For 1 month, the Palestinians have been living under frequent attacks by the Israeli army that have targeted people's homes, hospitals, schools, refugee camps, mosques, churches, and United Nations facilities. About 16 people have been injured in a new demonstration that turned violent in the capital of Madagascar, Antananarivo. The event comes when Madagascar is facing tension before the November 16th general election. The protest of the coalition of opposition candidates participating in the next election is being held against what they call an illegal election process. 13 candidates are vying for next week's election, including the current president, Andry Rajoelina, who is running for second term. Last month, the Constitutional Court dismissed the appeal to declare the candidates of President Rajoelina as invalid regarding his dual citizenship of France, and thus provoked the anger of the opposition. Humanitarian organizations have continued to provide humanitarian aid after the great earthquake that hit Morocco 2 months ago. The organizations expressed their concern about the arrival of winter in the area where the affected people are still living in tents. On September 8th, a major earthquake hit the country and caused the death of almost 3,000 people and the displacement of 300,000 people.
That was international news. Sports news up next. And And in sports news, the NBA Youth Basketball Tournament coordinator, Bahati Mugunda, says they plan to host youth basketball tournament aiming to promote talents in the country. Speaking in Dar es Salaam, Mugunda believes this season the competition will be tough as the youth from the competing teams target to show their skill of the game.
For us, this gives a big exposure, gives a big number of games for Tanzanian basketball players to participate. Because normally we think like it's advisable for a player at least to play 30 up to 40 games per year. And when you look at the setup in terms of games for basketball in Tanzania, there is a big challenge. We only have like Omiseta games. That's the only tournament that gives this kind of opportunity to our young bowlers. So having this JMK Park Open tournament, it gives them that exposure and that chance to compete with the other kids around the country.
The NBA Youth Basketball Competition is expected to be held in Dar es Salaam from December 14th to December 17th, involving international and local youth teams. In other sports news, the Vice President of the Tanzania Athletics Federation, William Kalage, says that they will use the JICA Ladies Competition to scout and nurture talents of girls in athletics so as to promote athletics games in Tanzania. Speaking in Dar es Salaam, Kalage insists the competition will give experience to young female athletes to international standards.
I insisted that only girls who are under the age of 18 should participate. So that means now we are really focusing on the youth and to use this competition as a platform to identify talent, which is spread all over the country. So we call upon all the chairpersons of regional athletics associations to bring the young girls under the age of 18 to this competition so they can compete and then they can be selected to represent the country in next year's Nagai Athletics Tournament.
The competition is expected to take place in Dar es Salaam from November 25th to November 26th, giving a platform to young women under the age of 18 from various regions in the country to showcase their talents. And that's it for sports. But before we conclude the news bulletin, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello viewers, it's me Joyce Makwata from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. This is 24 hours weather forecast starting from tonight. We expect wind to flat speed of 20 kilometers per hour for the entire coastal belt together with Lake Tanganyika. While over Lake Victoria, we expect wind to flat speed of 30 kilometers per hour. Lake Nyasa, we expect wind to flat speed of 40 kilometers per hour. And Timwe has issued advisory concerning period of strong winds expected over these areas. So people conducting marine activities are advised to take necessary precautions. Rainfall pattern are showing signal of rainfall, especially over the northern coast, northeastern island extending to Lake Victoria Basin and some part of western part of our country. During the night, we expect Kagera, Geita, Mwanza, Mara and Kigoma to feature partly cloudy condition thunder showers over a few areas. While over northeastern island, northern coast including northern part of Morogoro, we expect rain showers during the night. In the rest part of the country, we expect dry conditions. For tomorrow, we expect Kagera, Geita, Mwanza, Mara, Simiyu, Kigoma, Katavi, together with Tanga and Eyes of Unguja and Pemba to feature partly cloud condition, thunder showers over a few areas and sun period. Northeastern island, northern part of Morogoro, Dar es Salaam and Pwani, we expect it to feature partly cloud condition, rain showers over a few areas. Lindi, southern part of Morogoro, together with Ruvuma, we expect to experience light rain showers over a few areas and sun period. In the rest part of the country, we expect just see partly cloudy condition and sun period. And now let's have the next 4 days weather forecast. viewers from TMOE, that is what we have for today. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.
And on that note, we are ending our news bulletin for tonight. Do not miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I am Faida Ngaga. Good night.
Damka, habari Tanzania.
Kutoka pwani ya Kiwengwa
mpaka mwalo wa Katonga.